Hello and welcome back to Scared Schmidtless, the true crime and horror podcast hosted by yours truly, Alexander Schmidt, hence the clever title. If you're a first-time listener, welcome on board. I hope you enjoy your stay, and I hope you've all been doing pretty well this week. Today, I want to bring you an unsolved mystery that has people still coming up with theories as to what happened to this day. Today, I'm talking about the disappearance of Elisa Lam. Now, I've only just recently come across this case about Elisa Lam and what supposedly happened to her because I was watching some true crime stuff on YouTube and this popped up in my recommended. So I gave it a watch and I almost became invested in the case. So I've done some digging and I'm gonna credit this website called All That's Interesting because they've put up like a little article, The Unsolved Mystery Behind the Disturbing Death of Elisa Lam. And basically what I'm going to be doing today is going through this article and just telling you about this case because it's just a bizarre one that happened. I don't know what happened. I don't really have too many theories. But what I'm sort of leaning towards is more of a she was hallucinating and then committed suicide almost. But there's so much mystery surrounding it, so without dragging the intro of this on too long, we might just get straight into it. Let's talk about the mystery surrounding Elisa Lam. So if you're interested in reading this yourself, I will link the article down below. This, as I said, is credit to All That Interesting, and thank you to Natasha Ishak, I hope I'm pronouncing that, for writing this up so that I can read it. Elisa Lam was found dead in a water tank at the Notorious Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles in 2013. To this day, nobody knows how she died or how her body got there. Now, the Cecil Hotel is notorious for hosting a number of serial killers as well. I can't really think of their names right now, but the hotel certainly has a history. So that's what some theories are about as well, is like it's a haunted hotel that if you're staying there, you're sort of risking your own life by staying there, sort of thing. This quote comes directly from an NBC LA reporter, Lolita Lopez, in reference to the case, and she said, in 22 years plus of doing this job as a news reporter, this is one of those cases that kind of sticks with me because we know the who, what, when, where, but the why is always the question. Let's begin. To this day, nobody knows how exactly Elisa Lam died. We know that the 21-year-old Canadian college student, okay, so she was 21, my apologies, was last seen in the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles on January 31st, 2013. But the infamously chilling hotel surveillance video, yet there was a video of her released in an elevator where she seems to be talking to no one and her hands are just moving around and she's constantly checking outside the elevator for someone to be there. She presses all the buttons in the elevator as well. It's quite a disturbing video and it's also silent, which adds in like another level of like eeriness to the surveillance footage. Ever since her body was discovered in the hotel's water tank on February 19th, this was back in 2013, her tragic demise has remained shrouded in mystery. Although the coroner's office ruled her death as an accidental drowning, the strange details of Lam's case have fueled rampant speculation about what may have really happened. Internet sleuths have come up with a myriad of theories about the tragedy, involving everything from murder conspiracies to evil spirits. Let me tell you first about her actual disappearance. On January 26, 2013, Elisa Lam arrived in LA. She had just come by Amtrak train from San Diego and was headed to Santa Cruz as part of her solo trip around the West Coast. So she was traveling by herself, essentially. The trip was supposed to be a getaway from her studies at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, where she was originally from. Her family had been wary of her traveling by herself, but the young student was determined to go at it alone. As a compromise, Lam made sure to check in with her parents every day of the trip to let them know that she was safe. Now, that's a very, very smart thing to do if you are traveling by yourself. If you are going on a holiday by yourself, make sure you are always in contact with someone. I can't stress that enough. Even when my fiance and I went to America, we were still in constant contact with family members and friends, despite two of us going. But if you're going solo traveling around the world or whatever, make sure you're in contact with someone. Because of this constant contact with her parents, the parents found it quite unusual when they didn't hear from their daughter on January 31st, the day she was scheduled to check out of her LA hotel, which evidently is the Cecil Hotel. I think it's been renamed now, actually. The Lambs eventually contacted the Los Angeles Police Department. The police searched the premises of the Cecil but couldn't find her. Police soon released surveillance footage taken from the cameras at the Cecil Hotel on their website. This is where things took a turn into the truly bizarre. The hotel video showed Elisa Lam in one of its elevators on the date of her disappearance, acting rather strangely. In the pixelated footage, Lam can be seen stepping into the elevator and pushing all the floor buttons. She steps in and out of the elevator, poking her head out sideways towards the hotel's hallways in between. So she presses all the buttons, doors open, she peeks her head out pretty much all the time, just looking to see if anyone was there. She peers out of the elevator another few times before stepping out of the elevator entirely. And this article has linked the video. If you want to see this video, all you need to do is go to YouTube and type in Elisa Lam video. It will probably be the first thing that pops up. It's a 4-minute video, and it literally is just that. Her in an elevator acting very strange. The last minutes of the video show Lam standing by the left side of the door, moving her hands in random gestures. The kicker here is that nobody else was captured on the video, except her. Public reaction to the inexplicable video crossed all the way to Canada and China, where Lam's family is originally from. The 4-minute video of Lam's strange elevator episode has amassed tens of millions of views. So yeah, if you want to view this video, all you need to do is Elisa Lam video on YouTube. It's currently sitting at 26 million views. All the comments are like, the way she moves her hands is terrifying. Something about this video triggers your primitive danger senses. Is it me, or does it look like she's hiding from someone, like she low-key acts like someone is chasing her or has been chasing her? What really creeps me out is that we can only see her, but she's seeing something else. Something that was on the scene and on the spot, even if we can't see it. Alright, so let's get to the discovery of the body. Now, this is what entirely got me invested into this. The way the body was found is fucking disgusting. On February the 1st, so 2 weeks after she had initially disappeared and the video had been published, a maintenance worker found Elisa Lam's dead body floating in one of the hotel water tanks. The worker made the discovery after responding to complaints from hotel patrons about low water pressure and a weird taste coming from the tap water. That's fucking disgusting. For 2 weeks, hotel patrons were drinking water from where Elisa Lam's body was decomposing. There's also a video, there's one video, if you search it on YouTube, I think it's titled, I can't remember the title of it, but what it shows is one guy is showing the color of the water from the Cecil Hotel at the time that she was missing, because he filmed it because of the complaint. And the water is like a yellow black, and it's disgusting. He turns the bath tap on, and out of the tap comes like this black yellow water. Oh, dude, yuck. And not only that, but it's not just people drinking the water as well. You got to remember that water tanks like this also supply water to your bathroom facilities. So, for example, patrons of the hotel were having showers in this. They were brushing their teeth with this water. And of course, when it came to potentially, meals like dinners and stuff like that, they were drinking the water that Elisa Lam's body had been in for 2 weeks. According to a statement by the chief of the Los Angeles Fire Department, the tank in which Lam's body was found had to be drained completely and then cut open from the side to remove her. Yeah, here's the thing with the water tanks. There's a picture here, right? And this was in the video I saw as well. But the water tanks aren't big. And they have little holes at the top of them that are sealed by like a little square. They wouldn't have been able to get that body out. And even stranger about this is how the body got in there. Nobody knows how Lam's corpse floating lifelessly next to the same clothes she wore in the surveillance video ended up in the hotel's water tank, or who else might have been involved. Hotel staff told authorities that Lam was always seen by herself around the hotel premises. But at least one person did see Lam soon before her death. At a nearby shop, and this is a crazy name for the bookstore as well, it was eerily named The Last Bookstore. The owner was among the last to see Elisa Lam alive. The owner remembered the college student buying books and music for her family back in Vancouver. This is a quote directly from the shop owner. It seemed like Lam had plans to return home, plans to give things to her family members and reconnect with them. Alright, let's get to the autopsy reports. When the autopsy results for Lam's case came out, it only served to ignite more questions. The toxicology report confirmed that Lam had consumed a number of medical drugs, likely to be medication for her bipolar disorder. But there were no indications of alcohol or illegal substances in her body. Soon after the toxicology report came out, amateur sleuths began poring over any information they could, and in hopes of solving the mystery behind the death of Elisa Lam. For example, one summary of Lam's toxicology report was posted online by a Reddit sleuth with an obvious interest in medicine. The breakdown pointed out 3 key observations. 1. Lam took at least 1 antidepressant that day. 2. Lam had taken her second antidepressant and mood stabilizer recently, but not that day. And 3. Lam had not taken her antipsychotic recently. These conclusions suggested that Lam, who had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression, may have not been taking her medications properly. It is an important finding to note given that the use of antidepressants to treat bipolar disorder can risk inducing manic side effects, if done without caution. Some sleuths have understandably latched onto this detail and suggested it was a likely explanation behind Lam's strange behaviour in the elevator. So what people are suggesting there is, because she hadn't taken her antipsychotic medication, she was seeing potential hallucinations, and that would sort of explain the elevator footage where she's standing outside the elevator and talking to nothing. But even if Elisa Lam had been suffering from mental health issues, how did she end up dead? Furthermore, how did she end up in the hotel's water tank? The autopsy did not show any foul play from the evidence that was processed, but the coroner's report noted that they were unable to do a full examination because they could not examine the blood from Lam's decomposing body. Now here's where it gets crazy. David and I believe Lena Lam, her parents, filed a wrongful death suit against the Cecil Hotel several months after their daughter's death was uncovered. The Lamb's attorney stated that the hotel had a duty to inspect and seek out hazards in the hotel that presented an unreasonable risk of danger to Lam and other hotel guests. The hotel fought back against the lawsuit, filing a motion to dismiss it. The hotel's lawyer argued that the hotel had no reason to think that someone would be able to get into one of the water tanks. Based on court statements from the hotel's maintenance staff, the hotel's argument is not entirely far-fetched. The maintenance worker, Santiago Lopez, the one who first found Lam's body, described in detail how much effort he had to exert just to find her body. Lopez said that he took the elevator to the 11th floor of the hotel before walking up the staircase to the roof. Then he had to first turn off the rooftop alarm and climb up on the platform where the hotel's 4 water tanks were located. Finally, he had to climb another ladder to get to the top of the main tank. Only after all that did he notice something unusual. This is where the maintenance worker found Elisa Lam, and this was his quote. And this quote, just in itself, is enough to send shivers down my back. I noticed the hatch to the main water tank was open and looked inside and saw an Asian woman lying face up in the water approximately 12 inches from the top of the tank. So Elisa Lam would have been looking directly at him. Lopez's testimony suggested that it would have been difficult for Lam to make it to the top of the water tank on her own, at least not without anyone noticing. Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Howard Harm ruled that the death of Elisa Lam was unforeseeable because it had happened in an area that guests were not allowed to access, so the lawsuit was dismissed. Here's where I tell you a little bit of the history surrounding the Cecil Hotel, and this is what I was referring to earlier when I mentioned that the hotel has a history. Elisa Lam's mysterious demise was not the first to happen at the Cecil Hotel. In fact, the building's sordid past has earned it a reputation as one of the most supposedly haunted properties in Los Angeles. Sorry guys, probably not the right place to leave, but I got a delivery from Amazon, so I had to go and answer the door. Since opening its doors, the Cecil Hotel has been plagued by different non-natural deaths and unexplained paranormal events. The most famous death associated with the hotel, other than Lam's, was the one murder of actress Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia, who was reportedly seen drinking at the hotel bar in the days before her grisly demise. The hotel has also hosted some of the country's most notorious killers. Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, lived on the top floor of the hotel during his monstrous killing spree. The story goes that after a murder, Ramirez would dump his bloody clothes outside the hotel and return half naked. Back then, the hotel was in such a disarray that the Ramirez nude stunt barely raised an eyebrow. I believe the Richard Ramirez character, or the Night Stalker, is in one of the most recent seasons of American Horror Story as well. 6 years later, another murderous patron moved into the hotel. Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger, I believe, who earned the nickname Vienna Strangler. With such a history, one would think that the Cecil Hotel would soon be condemned. But actually, the old building was recently granted a landmark status by the Los Angeles City Council. The hotel was given the distinction because of the building's opening back in the 1920s, which is considered to be the beginning of the lodging industry within the US. To add to the American Horror Story bit I just spoke about, the tragic death of Elisa Lam at the hotel also inspired the pop culture adaptation of American Horror Story Hotel. During a press conference for the show, Ryan Murphy stated that the new season, quote, was inspired by a surveillance video from a Los Angeles-based hotel that surfaced 2 years ago. The footage showed a girl in an elevator who was never seen again, unquote. This is a very obvious reference to Elisa Lam and her bizarre elevator video. While an answer to the mystery behind the death of Elisa Lam remains unclear, the obsession surrounding the mystery has remained in the public consciousness ever since. Now, when it comes to this death, I believe that my theory is that because she hadn't taken her antipsychotic medication, she was seeing hallucinations. Which would definitely explain the elevator video that surfaced online that has, I can't believe it, 26 million views. But that doesn't explain how she got in the water tank, or how she ended up dead for that matter. There is a video that you can find. I'm so sorry, I'm terrible with video titles today. that shows how easy it was to actually get to the top of the hotel. Despite what the engineer and the maintenance worker had said, apparently it's quite easy to get to the roof of the Cecil Hotel. I don't believe it would be that easy now. I'm sure they've made sure security was ramped up to 11 with all the necessary precautions so this never happens again, essentially. But once this case had come out, there was a video that surfaced of someone showing how easy it was to go up the stairs of the Cecil Hotel and then disable the alarm. And then all it is just opening the door and heading towards the water tanks. So in terms of the elevator video, I believe it would have to do with the antipsychotics and the bipolar disorder, especially seeing hallucinations. I think that was a big thing. The death, however, is what always gets me. I don't understand that. And I also don't understand that for almost 3 weeks where, hotel guests were complaining about the water taste and the water pressure, that not once did a maintenance worker or that, at least for 3 weeks anyway, decide to go and check on the water. And the hotel had no concerns about that, allegedly, which I find very bizarre. So, that's the disappearance of Elisa Lam. I'd love to hear what you think happened to this 21-year-old college student back in 2013, which is truly sad because she would have been, almost 28, 29 today, something like that. I'm not really good at maths. Yeah, it's a crazy case, and I'm glad I stumbled across it on YouTube because the fact that, for 3 weeks she couldn't be found, but there was this weird taste in the water and whatnot, just stumbles me. I don't get it. So that's going to be today's episode. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for listening. And before I end, I would just like to say, if you want to send a story into the show or have an experience yourself you want to share, the email for it is scaredschmidtlesspod@gmail.com, or just have a browse in the show notes. I'll leave it all there. I also have a Twitter and Instagram now. I have like 5 followers. It's I'm pretty popular now. If you want to follow those, leave the show a positive review if you enjoyed it, and reach out to the show if you want to. I'm not scary, I promise. And I would love to hear what you think happened to Elisa Lam. Thank you all for listening in, and I'll be back next week.